Lazada bonus.
Shop on 11th November.
This is Nightline and I'm Muhammed Hamdan. News making the headlines. BN confident of winning simple majority. And Malaysia crowned Sultan Azlan Shah Cup champions for the first time. Good morning. Barisan Nasional is confident that it can win more than 112 parliamentary seats in the 15th general election GE15 to form the new federal government. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Ismail said that according to the latest information on BN's campaign trail presented at the UMNO top leadership briefing session in Kuala Lumpur on Thursday, there is a very positive acceptance among voters for BN. He said even though BN would be able to form a government with that 112 seats, he still believes that BN would not be doing so on its own to ensure that it will be a more stable government.
Daripada rakan-rakan kita daripada Sarawak dan juga daripada Sabah untuk memperkuatkan kerajaan yang ada akan datang. Walaupun 112 boleh membentuk kerajaan, walaupun tidak boleh berlaku lompatan lagi kerana akta anti lompat telah pun dikuatkuasakan, tetapi kita nak kerajaan yang lebih kuat.
He was speaking to the media after attending a meet and greet program at Kampung Batu Bor in Bara Pahang. Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri also revealed that during the briefing session, it was reported that the mood of voters had improved towards supporting BN, be it among those in the rural and urban areas as well as among the non-Malays. The Keluarga Malaysia policy introduced by Prime Minister Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri when he took office in August last year has received the thumbs up from Malaysians. According to a survey by research firm Ilham Centre, the policy was generally welcomed by Malaysians. However, Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri would need a full term if he wants to develop the policy to its full potential after the 15th general election GE15. The study, titled Public Perception Towards the Malaysia Government and Keluarga Malaysia Policy, involved 1,211 respondents from across Peninsular Malaysia. Based on results of the study, most respondents accepted the ideas of Keluarga Malaysia as a vehicle for unity, with 75.8% agreeing that the spirit of Keluarga Malaysia can maintain peace and harmony. 58.5% of respondents also agreed that the Keluarga Malaysia policy is capable of preventing disintegration in society or racially induced riots in the country. The research firm added despite becoming Prime Minister for only 13 months, the government led by Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri implemented various initiatives and programs under the Keluarga Malaysia policy, such as one-off assistance and subsidies to reduce the prices of goods, which eased the burden of the people facing rising cost of living. It also said that Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri's achievements during his short tenure should still be recognised as a successful term, considering the successful track record and significant development towards repositioning the country back on the right track. BN is consistent in naming Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri Yaakob as its candidate for Prime Minister. The coalition's chief, Datuk Seri Ahmad Hamidi, said the decision was clear and there was no need for anyone to speculate otherwise.
Dan tentunya apabila parti UMNO membuat keputusan, Barisan Nasional membuat keputusan, kita akan terus komited untuk menentukan bahawa Perdana Menteri kita adalah Perdana Menteri yang sedang menjalankan tugas dengan baik di Putrajaya sekarang ini. Jangan timbul spekulasi. Jangan timbul ramalan, jangan cucuk mencucuk di kalangan kami. We have no problem at all.
He said this in his speech when meeting with the Tangga Batu parliamentary seat BN election machinery in Taman Bukit Terendak, Sungai Udang, where he also launched the Tangga Batu BN Communications BNcom team. Meanwhile, the BN chief urged voters not to choose parties such as Pakatan Harapan, which he said had failed to help the rakyat.
Artinya kita pilih calon tempatan di Tangga. Saya yakin angin perubahan ini telah mula kelihatan.
In Kuala Lumpur, a DAP leader has launched a police report against past President Tan Sri Abdul Hadi Awang over his allegation that the party was pro-communist. The report was launched by former Kepong Member of Parliament Lim Lip Eng at the Dang Wangi Police Headquarters on Thursday. Lim said Tan Sri Hadi had made the allegation at least 4 times since Parliament was dissolved in October, with the latest remark made on Wednesday. He added that Tan Sri Hadi had not only accused DAP of being pro-communist, but also branded others from Pakatan Harapan with all sorts of labels. Lim also said the past president and other Perikatan national leaders had been drumming up racial issues instead of talking about real problems faced by the people. Tan Sri Hadi had previously tweeted that DAP should be opposed as it is pro-communist. He also uploaded 3 images and descriptions linking DAP to communists. In a Friday sermon in Marang, Terengganu, Tan Sri Hadi had also said that PAS would not work with PH as the coalition was led by communists and was supportive of the LGBTQ community. Tan Sri Hadi meanwhile defended his remarks linking DAP to communist ideology and claiming the party rejected the belief in God. The past president said he was prepared to produce evidence to support his allegation in court if needed.
Saya kenal beberapa orang tu tak percaya Tuhan. Saya tahu pimpinan DAP ya. Pernah bercampur dengan kami, dia tak percaya ke Tuhan. Kami tahu. Tak perlu sebut nama lah. Ya.
Tadi tu takkan memohon maaf kepada DAP lah?
Tidak.
Ataupun nak menarik balik ke?
Tak tarik. Nanti jumpa di mahkamah. Jumpa di mahkamah. Saya boleh tunjuk bukti-bukti.
Speaking to the media at an event in Jalan Gombak, Kuala Lumpur, Tan Sri Hadi added that he had been summoned to Bukit Aman to give his statement on the matter. The incumbent Marang MP said the police had wanted to record his statement from his home, but he opted to go to the Federal Police Headquarters instead. Meanwhile, PH Chairman Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim has clapped back at Tan Sri Hadi for taking digs at him in the latter's ceramah during the GE15 campaign. He also slammed the past president for being a hypocrite, despite preaching about Islam and claiming to fight for Malay rights.
Kamu duta khas, ambil RM60,000 sebulan, mesyuarat parlimen pun tak pergi, tak rasa salah. Dan orang ni pula, mana? Ya, bila kita tangkap, dia kata kita anti ulama. Saya bukan anti ulama. Saya anti tokoh politik, termasuk yang bertopengkan agama.
However, the PKR president maintained that he did not criticize PAS and its members as a whole, unlike PN chairman Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin, who in the past had labelled PAS as a party of religious deviants. Now, here's a message to employers whose employees are unable to report for duty just because they had to go to the polling stations to vote. They cannot impose any penalty or make any deduction from their employee salary. According to Human Resource Minister Datuk Sri M. Saravanan, errant employers could be hauled up under the Election Offences Act 1954. The HR Minister said that every employer shall, on polling day, allow every elector in his employ a reasonable period for voting, and no employer shall make any deduction from the pay or other remuneration of any such elector, or impose upon or exact from him any penalty by reason of his absence during such periods. Datuk Sri Saravanan said employers should discuss with employees regarding the option of giving time off or leave to allow them to exercise their right. He said employers could give reasonable time off for workers whose polling stations were located nearby their workplace. They can also give a day off for workers who have to vote in areas located far away from their workplace. He said that for employees who need more than one day to travel to the polling station, they can take annual leave. He added that employers could be fined up to 5,000 ringgit or sentenced to a jail term of up to 1 year if they refuse to allow their employees to exercise their right. The federal government will be banking in the last batch of financial aid this year to lower-income households and individuals by November 18th, which is earlier than scheduled. According to Datuk Sri Ismail Yaakob, this is because of the monsoon season, which is expected to start mid-November. Speaking in Bera Pahang, the Prime Minister said the 2.1 billion ringgit Bantuan Keluarga Malaysia BKM payment is to benefit 5.2 million recipients.
Di awal ni, sebab kita takut banjir berlaku, jadi yang pertamanya untuk kegunaan waktu banjir. Dan yang kedua, walaupun dikreditkan dalam akaun masing-masing, kalau banjir tak boleh keluar ke bandar, jadi mereka tak boleh nak menggunakan wang tersebut. Jadi sebab itulah kita berawalkan.
He said the fourth phase of the BKM cash aid will be credited in the recipient's bank account in stages from November 15th onwards and is expected to be completed by November 18th. A total of 8 billion ringgit had been allocated for BKM to benefit 8.7 million recipients in the year 2022. Still to come, at least 10 killed in Maldives building fire. Don't go away. To the foreign front, Joe Biden hailed a good day for democracy after a surprisingly strong performance in midterm elections, with Republicans inching toward a slim majority in only one chamber of Congress. Speaking at the White House on Wednesday, the US president said the results so far had made him breathe a sigh of relief.
While we don't know all the results yet, at least I don't know them all yet, here's what we do know. While the press and the pundits are predicting a giant red wave, it didn't happen. I thought we were going to do fine. While any seat lost is painful, some good Democrats didn't win the last night. Democrats had a strong night. And we lost fewer seats in the House of Representatives than any Democratic president's first midterm election in the last 40 years. Personal rights and freedoms and the student debt relief. Regardless,
Biden said that an overwhelming majority of Americans supported his economic agenda and indicated he was leaning towards seeking a second term in 2024, although he said he would make a decision early next year. Republican strategists had been hopeful of sweeping victories, given that inflation is at a 40-year high and Biden's approval ratings are relatively low. Republicans were closing in on the 218 seats they need to wrest control of the House from Democrats. If Republicans win either chamber of Congress, they will be able to block the president's agenda. Over in Indonesia, investigators on Thursday blamed mechanical problems and pilot complacency for a deadly plane crash last year that killed all 62 passengers and crew. Indonesia's National Transportation Safety Committee, KNKT, stated in their final report that a faulty automatic engine throttle system that was not properly monitored led to the deadly 2021 crash of a Sriwijaya Co. 737-500 jet. The complacency may have resulted in less monitoring by the pilots, as the course changed when unnoticed when they were not able to act quickly enough. Investigators also found it difficult to analyze the situation in the cockpit of the 26-year-old jet because the captain's voice was not recorded on the black box. Problems with the auto throttle system that automatically controls engine power were also reported 65 times in the 26-year-old jet's maintenance logs since 2013 and was still unresolved before the accident, with crews on previous flights describing the jet's throttle system as unserviceable. Over in the Maldives, at least 10 people were killed and several others injured when a fire swept through cramped lodgings of foreign workers in the archipelago's capital, Malé, on Thursday. According to authorities, 10 bodies were recovered from the upper floor of a building destroyed in the fire, which broke out at 12:30 a.m. local time. Reports said that the fire appears to have originated from a vehicle repair garage on the ground floor of the burned structure. The fire squad took 4 hours to put out the blaze. A security official later confirmed the death to include 9 Indians and a Bangladesh national. The National Disaster Management Authority has established an evacuation center in Mafanu Stadium for those displaced and affected by the fire. Now, dozens of works by artists, including Paul Cézanne and Vincent van Gogh, fetched a total of $1.5 billion at an auction of the late Microsoft co-founder Paul Allen's vast collection of paintings and sculpture. Works by George Seurat, Paul Cézanne, Vincent van Gogh and Gustav Klimt all sold for over $100 million on a record-shattering night at Christie's in New York. Christie's had initially estimated that the 150-plus works would sell for a combined $1 billion, but the landmark sum was exceeded even before the conclusion of day one. The night's single biggest sale was Seurat's Les Pazuz ensemble, the petite version, which fetched over $149.2 million, almost 5 times the previous record for the French artist's work. Spanning 500 years of art history, art from Allen's collection is being offered over the course of 2 nights, with all proceeds going to philanthropic causes. Union Berlin dropped more points. Action from the German Bundesliga when we return.
Penemuan kotak permainan.
Sultan Azlan Shah Cup. Malaysia lifted the Sultan Azlan Shah Cup for the first time after dethroning defending champion South Korea 3-2 in a closely fought final in Ipoh on Thursday night. The team, who started the tournament with a 3-0 defeat to the Koreans, turned on the power to upstage the favourites at the Sultan Azlan Shah Stadium. Forward Shelo Silverius opened the scoring for Malaysia with a 15-minute field goal. However, Jang Jong-hyun put the Koreans back in the game with a penalty corner conversion a minute later, and the scoreline remained 1-1 until the half-time. Influential defender Razi Rahim scored from a penalty stroke in the 45th minute to restore the lead before extending the lead to 3-1 through a 48th-minute field goal from Aminuddin Zain. There were some anxious moments for Malaysia when South Korea scored their second goal through Jeo Byung-jin after a 58th-minute penalty corner, but the Speedy Tigers stood firm to win the crown. And on to football, the German Bundesliga. Union Berlin have fallen 4 points back of leaders Bayern Munich after they were held to a 2-2 draw at home by Augsburg. A goalkeeping error led to Union's first goal after just 7 minutes. Rafał Gikiewicz timed a long through ball wrongly, giving Geraldo Becker a chance to curl the ball home from a long range into an empty net. The lead, however, lasted for barely a minute as Augsburg drew level through Florian Niederlechner. Union reclaimed their advantage in the 22nd minute when Kevin Behrens headed home a free kick to make it 2-1. The visitors again equalised 6 minutes before the break as Niederlechner reacted the fastest to a rebound after Ermedin Demirovic hit the post. The 2-2 scoreline remained till the final whistle, forcing Union to drop another 2 points, which left them in second place, 4 points behind leaders Bayern Munich. Well-organised cartel behind clone vehicle syndicate. This and more after this short break. Geostrategist Dr. Azmi Hassan joining us virtually. Dr. Azmi, according to the Prime Minister, Dr. Sri Ismail Sabri Yaakob, there is a very positive acceptance among voters for Barisan Nasional. What could be the contributing factors to this?
Yeah, Muhammad, putting aside the momentum from Johor and the Melaka state election, I guess Barisan Nasional has put their strategies, especially their candidates. I think the feel-good factor is mostly on the candidates. But most importantly, Muhammad, I think the people want a stable government. And Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri, Barisan Nasional government, even though for 40 months, had demonstrated that a stable government is possible. I think the 4.5 years that we went through ago, I think, Muhammad, I think the people really want the government to concentrate on administering the country. So I think that's the main reason why Barisan Nasional is feeling very positive, Muhammad.
Okay, now we also saw research firm Ilham Centre's finding that the Prime Minister's Keluarga Malaysia government policy is up to mark and that it needs a longer duration to be fully realised. What are the elements of this policy which have attracted Malaysians who gave the thumbs up to this policy?
Yeah, I think Keluarga Malaysia looks very simple. It looks very timid, but I guess after Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri took over the prime ministership from Tan Sri Mahyudin, we went through a very difficult time after lockdown. And all the policies formulated are based on Keluarga Malaysia, which meant that the people come first. How difficult how burdened the government has to perform the policy, I guess, the Keluarga Malaysia really, I would say, felt positive for the people because, for example, giving aids, Bantuan Keluarga Malaysia, not only the rate has been increased, but also the number of recipients has been tremendous increase. So I guess the Keluarga Malaysia really stick to the people that the government, the Prime Minister, Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri, really cares about the people, Muhammad.
Right. Last but not least, very quickly, on November 19th, the polling day, if the people give BN the mandate, how will this policy put the country back on the right track in weathering the wave of economic gloom in the future, Dr. Azmi?
Yeah, I think a strong mandate is needed by the government. The people need to give a strong mandate to Barisan Nasional so that the Prime Minister, which is the Prime Minister Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri, will have a free hand to form his own ministers in the cabinet. I think if a free hand is given to the Prime Minister, he will pick the minister from members of parliament who are capable of doing the job, who are capable of delivering the job. I think that's the most important thing. A full mandate, a strong mandate is given so that the government can concentrate to administer the nation, especially for the economic matters, which is in a very, very dire straits right now, Muhammad.
That was Geostrategies Professor Dr. Azmi Hassan. Now, the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission, MACC, has opened an investigation paper into the asset declarations submitted by PKR Deputy President Rafizi Ramli. It was reported that MACC was looking into the matter from various angles after a report was lodged by a non-governmental organisation, NGO, over the declaration made by Rafizi.
Jika disabitkan kesalahan, saya rasa dia tak layak untuk bertanding. Buang masa, nanti jika sabit kesalahan kena buat pilihan raya kecil balik kan. So yang ini harus disiasatlah supaya tidak menjadi modal kepada mana-mana ahli parti politik.
He also urged the Election Commission EC to study the legal implications of Rafizi contesting the Pandan parliamentary seat if he is involved in money laundering. Syed Muhammad Imran said Rafizi's declaration of his assets should be explained transparently to avoid confusion among the public. The NGO launched the report on Wednesday. Over in Selangor, well-organised syndicates are believed to be behind the smuggling of vehicles from Singapore using cars with Certificate of Entitlement (COE) that will expire in 3 to 7 days before being sold cheaper than the market price. Road Transport Department RTD Senior Director for Enforcement, Datuk Lokman Jama'an, said the vehicles are being sold between 3,000 and 5,000 Singapore dollars to buyers via various social media platforms. He added that the syndicates target individuals aged between 25 and 40, Currently, the RTD is still active in tracking the network of syndicates selling cloned vehicles using its Road Charge Vehicle Entry Permit (RCVP) system at the country's entry point in Johor to track foreign vehicles brought into the country. As we wrap up Nightline this time around, let's take a look at Van Ho Alive, an exhibition that amalgamates a novel technological assembly in a museum environment in a single fusion that seeks to delve into the work, history and soul of a genius of all ages. With that, I'm Muhammed. I'm Hamdan. Thank you for watching. Stay safe and have a great week ahead.